Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about like my pregnancy story. It's just a couple things that happened while I was pregnant that kind of leads up to my labor and delivery, which I know everyone really wants to hear that story, and I promise you it's coming, but I think this video needs to come out first before I film that one, because this one has like I think it's important to know like how my pregnancy was. And also Theo is sleeping, so if I keep looking down at the monitor, it might be because he's like moving or something. I'm kind of like rushing in this video. I'm sorry, I apologize, but Theo is sleeping and he's been asleep for a little bit now. And I really want to film this video before he wakes up, so I'm going to be kind of speeding through it, so just bear with me. So after I told my parents I was pregnant and everything, fast forward to like 12 weeks pregnant, I think I was, and I ended up in the hospital because I was bleeding. So I had thought I was having a miscarriage, which they thought I was having too. So I got there, the doctor told me that it looked like I was having a miscarriage, but we're not going to make a final call until I get an ultrasound so we could see if we can find the heartbeat. And I finally got the ultrasound and we found the heartbeat and everything was fine. So the second issue was I was 25 weeks pregnant. I was in nursing school at the time, and I woke up that morning and I had like an annoying pain in my side. Like it wasn't painful, but it was really uncomfortable. Like it was irritating, and like I couldn't, like I just felt like not good, and I thought maybe the baby was like leaning on something, because you know after they start to get bigger and bigger, like they push things around and whatnot. So I just figured it was that. So I get up and I go to school, and it was just a lecture this day, and I'm sitting in the back of the room, and I remember I texted Teddy and I was like, there's something wrong, like something's not right now, like I needed to go home. And he was like, just go home and lay down, like you can make up the work or whatever. And I remember I was sitting in class and like I was like, you know, I'll just wait a little bit, it's not horrible. But then it started to like get really bad. Like I was like sweating, I felt like I was gonna throw up, and I was like hunching over the desk because it hurt so bad. And I remember thinking that my appendix ruptured because it was on my right side, and that was the only thing I could think other than it being a pregnancy pain. So I was like, you know, let me just go home, and maybe if I lay down I can get him to lay in a different position or something. So I got home, like I drove home and I was in horrible pain. I was hunched over driving too. I got home, walked up the steps, barely made it up the steps, and then went right into my room. I told my mom, she was home, I told my mom that I wasn't feeling well, and I just laid in bed, and I kept like I remember I like put my legs up against the wall, like I laid on my bed on my back, like put my legs up, I turned to the side, kept flipping and everything. Like I remember I was like on my like elbows and my knees, like trying to like move him over or something. And because he wasn't huge at that time, so it's not like he was taking up all this room. So I was like, I don't think it's him, I think there's something like wrong with me. And then it got so bad to the point where I did throw up. Like I ran to the bathroom and I was getting sick, and I kept getting sick because I was in so much pain. And my mom came into the bathroom and I was literally laying on the floor, like in serious pain, like screaming, crying in pain. So she called my dad, and my dad came and picked us up, and we got to the triage. To say the least, like I think the easiest way to put it is that my nurses were horrible. They were rude. They didn't treat us nicely at all in triage. So that made the whole entire experience worse for Teddy and I, because they were mean to Teddy. They talked to him like he didn't know what he was doing, which he didn't, because we were new-time parents. We were new to this. I didn't even know what was happening, and I was asking questions, and they also made me feel stupid a lot of the time. So that made it a lot worse for us. And so on top of that, we're super scared. We're like upset about this. Like I was in a lot of pain, and the nurses sucked. So that really sucked. But I'm in the hospital now in the emergency room, or the baby up. They were checking his heart rate and everything like that. And we noticed that I was having contractions, and I'm not kidding, like I was having contractions. They weren't little tiny contractions, like you couldn't even see the point of the contraction. That's how high they were and how strong they were, and they were every 45 seconds. So it turns out I was in labor, and I didn't even know it because I never had a baby before, so I didn't know I was in labor. And that was one of the questions that the nurse asked me. How did you not know that you were in labor? Well, I'm sorry. I've never had a child before. How was I supposed to know what labor felt like? Like, no one could tell you, like, especially because I was that early. Like, I just didn't think I was in labor. It was the least of my worries. Like, I didn't even think that at all. So I was in labor, and I was in labor for 9 hours. No medicine, because they couldn't give me medicine because they didn't know why I was having contractions like that or anything like that. And they were kind of like preparing us for the worst, I would say. Like, they were just like, you know, if you have this baby now, he is going to be really small. Like, it's going to be a serious situation because he was only 25 weeks at that time, and like literally just turned 25 weeks too, so it was like really early. So they kind of just like told us things about that and whatnot, like if you had this baby now, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And then finally my contractions started to slow down, but I had to stay overnight because they were still doing tests and everything. And it turns out that I had hydronephrosis, and they told me that was going to stay there for the rest of my pregnancy, and if it got worse, they told me what we would have to do and all this stuff. But thankfully it didn't get worse. It kind of just stayed the same. My pain was not nearly as bad. And I kind of got put on bed rest. Like, they told me I wasn't allowed to do heavy lifting. I wasn't allowed to be standing for long periods of time. I wasn't allowed to be like overdoing it, I guess. So I was put on bed rest, and that did really help. I did try to like relax a little bit more, not take on as much as I was doing and stuff like that, like, you know, just like doing easy stuff. So I did that, and the pain on my side stayed quite a bit. Like, I think I probably had that for like where I couldn't, like, I had pain where I couldn't stand up probably like 4 times after that. And then other than that, I kind of just had that annoying pain all the time, and I kind of got used to it, because as you get further along in pregnancy, you just get aches and pains. Like, it's just gonna happen. Like, your back starts to hurt, you start to have lower back pain, you start to get really crampy, you get like Braxton Hicks, and the kicking is very strong after a while. So, you know, like, it kind of just like got pushed to the side because I was feeling everything else. So, so yeah, that after being in labor at 25 weeks, he held on all the way until 41 weeks pregnant. Literally 41 weeks. So at 35 weeks pregnant, I went to the, 35 I think is when they do like the last ultrasound, where they like measure his belly and tell you kind of how much he might weigh and whatnot. So at 35 weeks, they told me that he was 6.5, I think, which that's pretty big, because if they gain a half a pound a week, it's going to be a big baby. If he was 6.5 pounds at 35 weeks, he was gonna be a big baby. So I like kept telling my doctor, like, I was like, I know that I'm going to have a 10-pound baby. Like, I cannot have a 10-pound baby. If I do, like, I really don't want to have a vaginal delivery. Like, I cannot have a 10-pound baby. And she kept saying, no, like, every appointment at 35 weeks, you have to go every week at that point. So every week she would measure my belly and tell me that he is 7 pounds every single time. Like, how could you tell? How can you touch my stomach and tell me that he's gonna be 7 pounds? Because you can't. You were wrong. So she was like, okay, so another thing, every single week she would tell me, you're 3 centimeters dilated, 90% effaced, and your water bag is really close to breaking. So she would say that I probably wouldn't make it to the next day, like that I'll probably have a baby by the next day, which didn't happen. Then 36 weeks, you'll probably have a baby by the weekend. 37 weeks, you're probably not going to make it till tonight. 38 weeks, you're definitely going to have this baby sometime today. 39 weeks, same thing over and over and over again. So then finally I hit 40 weeks, and I was like, I was crying every time I left the doctor's office. I was crying, because at the end of pregnancy it gets hard. 1, because you are just so anxious to see the baby, and 2, because you are literally wobbling. Like, you can't even get out of bed normally. You're out of breath all the time. Like, it is hard. Like, it is really hard to have to like lead up to the delivery. So 40 weeks pregnant, she told me that I would be induced on February 9th. She made an appointment February 9th, said that I would be induced at 6 a.m. and that I have to call at 4 o'clock in the morning, and that I would get a room and all of that. Like, just I had to call at 4 o'clock just to let them know that I was coming in at 6 o'clock. So fast forward to February 9th. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I eat breakfast because they say to eat before you come. I call them and tell them that, so mind you, I probably couldn't sleep because I was pregnant, and I probably couldn't sleep because I was super excited that I was about to have a baby the following day, or so I thought. And I called them at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was super like, please, 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 like, I'm so excited. Like, I called them at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I tell them like, hey, my doctor said that I was being induced at 6 a.m. We were going to be there by 6, blah, 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 all this stuff. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, we don't have a room for you right now, so call back around 8. So tried to fall back asleep until 8 o'clock hit, and I was like, oh crap, gotta call them. So 8 o'clock hit, same thing, don't have a room for you, call back at 12. Call back at 12, same thing, don't have a room for you. So I was really angry and upset and was like, Teddy, we need to get out of this house. Like, I can't sit here anymore because I am just so upset that, like, I was so excited. I really thought I was gonna be induced today. And she was like, at 12 o'clock when I called, she also said, it doesn't look like we're gonna have any room for you today. If you don't hear back from us by 3 o'clock, then just assume that you will get induced on Monday unless you go into labor on your own. So I was like, okay, thanks for nothing. I'm gonna go to the mall now. So Teddy and I went to the mall, and I just wanted to walk around. It was cold out. It was like snowy out and whatnot. I wanted to walk around hoping maybe it would push me into labor or something. So we go to the mall, and we're in line for Chick-fil-A, and we get the phone call and answer, and she was like, hi, is this Brandy Brophy? I just wanted to let you know that we have a room for you, and I was wondering how soon you guys would be able to get here. So thankfully we went to the mall that was like right down the street from the hospital. So we got our Chick-fil-A quickly, we ate, and then we went to the hospital and we got checked in and everything, and then it's time for the labor and delivery. So stay tuned for that video, because I think I want Teddy here for that video. I want to talk about it with Teddy, and perfect timing because he just woke up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'm really sorry that I kind of just sped through it and just told you little things about what happened, but I thought it was important to tell you before I got to the labor and delivery. So I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.